Hey, welcome to Live with Lynn. So if you're here, say hi. If you're watching the replay, be sure to type replay so I know you were here. So I'm Lynn Huber, and I appreciate you being here. So today I'm going to still have a little bit of fun with the holidays. We'll get more serious maybe tomorrow. But today let's talk about 12 things you might not know about the 12 days of Christmas. I found this online when I was looking for things to talk about for Christmas, and I thought it was interesting. I thought it was really interesting. So, pipers piping, geese a-laying, 5 golden rings, right? What in the name of Yule logs is this song all about? Well, the short answer, it turns out, is that many people have asked that question, and there are nearly as many answers. Here are 12 answers that maybe to help get you going on that, right? So number one, lots of people, particularly online, insist that the song is Catholic catechism. So the story goes that from the 16th to the 19th century, when being Catholic was a crime in Protestant England, children would sing this song to profess their forbidden faith. The partridge in the pear tree were Jesus Christ, and the 4 calling birds were the 4 Gospels. The pipers piping were the 11 faithful apostles, and so on. But that's probably not true. For one thing, it doesn't fit the bill as a catechism song. All 12 things that it professes to secretly represent, like the books of the Bible, the 6 days of creation, etc., would have been acceptable to Protestants as well. So there would have been nothing they would have had to hide. And for another thing, this rumor seems to have actually popped up in the last 25 years and then spread like wildfire, as such things do on the internet, right? Without any reference to the original sources. The precise origin of the song is unknown. Scholars on the subject, yes, believe it or not, there are scholars on the subject of the 12 Days of Christmas, but they agree that it was first published either as a children's song or a Christmas carol in the late 18th or mid-19th century. Edward Finney, a professor of classics at the University of Massachusetts, put the first publication at about 1868. But it also shows up in slightly altered forms in Mirth Without Mischief, which was published around 1780, and James Orchard Halliwell's The Nursery Rhymes of England, which was published in 1842. Another interesting fact is they weren't always 4 calling birds. The 4 calling birds that we sing about today were, at different times, 4 canary birds and 4 mockingbirds, and before that they show up as collie birds, which C-O-L-L-Y, collie birds, which is the archaic term for blackbirds. They were, however, for some reason, always 4. There was always 4 of them. So 5 golden rings probably don't refer to what you think they refer to either. There's pretty good evidence suggesting that 5 golden rings is actually a reference to the yellowish rings around a pheasant's neck, or to goldspinks, an old name for a pretty little bird called the goldfinch, not to the hand jewelry, not to the rings, right? And actually that makes sense, considering every other lyric in the first 7 days of the song references a bird, a partridge, turtle doves, French hymns, or fat ducks, depending on the version, calling birds or blackbirds, swans, and geese. Okay, number 6, about that partridge. Well, another credible origin story concerns the partridge himself. Some evidence suggests that the lyric, "A partridge in a pear tree," is actually an angelicization of what would have begun as a French word for a partridge, which was perdrix. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. I don't speak French, but perdrix. The original line would have been a partridge, which is une perdrix, which when you say it out loud sounds a whole lot like a partridge in a pear tree, right? So obviously I said that wrong. Okay, number 7, there's probably more renditions and parodies of the 12 Days of Christmas than probably any other Christmas carol out there. Over the years, the song has been done and redone by everyone from the Chipmunks to Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh version was a honey pot in a hollow tree, and Ren and Stimpy to Lucille Ball and old Blue Eyes himself. In Frank Sinatra's version, he replaces the traditional gifts of birds with things he would like 5 ivory combs, 4 mission lights, 3 golf clubs, 2 silken scarves, and most lovely lavender tie. In a version by Bob Rivers, a Seattle radio personality, he replaces each gift with many of the inconveniences of Christmas time. So like sending Christmas cards, facing my in-laws, and of course, finding a Christmas tree. Number 8, the song might have started as a kid's game. Lots of people who've looked into the subject, including Finney, the professor at Amherst, say that the song probably arose as a kid's memory and counting game, wherein groups of children would take turns singing each lyric around a circle. And if a kid messed up, he was out. And the game continued. And in some retellings, the game worked more like spin the bottle. If a kid messed up, he owed someone a kiss, the musical version of mistletoe. In either case, the goal was to count all the way up to 12 and back down without stumbling, forgetting a lyric, or getting your tongue twisted up on any of the sinuous bits like Seven Swans a Swimming. So speaking of counting and fowls, every December, a group of birders, amateur and otherwise, venture out in the frigid countryside and they count birds in the weeks surrounding Christmas. This so-called Christmas bird count came about in 1900 when a conservativist, I can't say that, bird lover and early Audubonista Frank Chapman convinced a handful of people to stop hunting birds on Christmas and start counting them instead. In 1900, 27 groups of bird counters traversed the countryside from New England to California. Nowadays, upward of 2,000 groups with tens of thousands of participants total continue the tradition, making it the longest running and most valuable citizen census of existing bird populations in America today. I had no idea. Did you know that? I've never even heard of that. But hey, back to the song. It's probably a love song. If you think of all the things being presented, they're all gifts from a lover to a woman. Finney told this to the Southeast Missourian in 1990. He says some of them are rather impossible to give, like 8 maids a milking and 9 ladies dancing. All those ladies dancing and pipers and drums imply that this is a wedding. And in the 2009 episode of the American version of The Office, Andy Bernard, who is Erin's office secret Santa, gives her each item on the 12 days of Christmas in an attempt to woo her. So at some point, Erin, flummoxed by the influx of large birds at her desk, beseeches her secret Santa to please stop due to the injuries caused by the wild animals. At the end, Andy admits he's been giving the poorly conceived gifts, just as a parade of 12 drummers enters the set, right? And what's a wedding without consummation? Finney says the song is rife to references of fertility. We have maids a milking, lords a leaping, geese a laying, if you know what I mean. The final gift, the partridge in a pear tree, is the ultimate lover's offer. Finney says the pear is heart-shaped and the partridge is a famous aphrodisiac. So number 12 of about the 12 things you don't know is that all of these things would cost a pretty penny. Seriously, every year since 1984, a group of economists at PNC Wealth Management have figured out how much it would cost to actually buy all of the things on the 12 Days of Christmas list. This so-called Christmas price index indicates inflation and the increasing cost of certain goods. So this year, for instance, if you were really going to go out and buy everything on that list, which includes hiring drummers and dancers, per performance, and milking maids per hour, and presumably a group of men who are willing to leap for pay, it would run you $114,651.17. Compare that to 1990, when you could get away with the whole shooting match for a cool $15,231.70. And at today's prices, a performance of 12 drummers drumming would set you back an average of $2,854.50, while the 7 swans a swimming would run you a whopping $7,000. Wow, that's a lot of information, isn't it, about a song? But anyway, that's what I have for you today. Kind of interesting. What stood out to you? What did you think was the thing you didn't know? It was like, wow, that opened my eyes. That was interesting. I'd love to hear it. Get below, share with me. And hey, we're still in the holidays. It's the day after Christmas. We still have New Year's coming. So I hope that you're blessed. I hope you're enjoying time with your family and friends. And I hope you have a great day. Thanks for being here with me today. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.